Well, hi folks, welcome to this episode of Vern's Misadventures. In this one, we're going to be upgrading an old computer that we've got over here in our home office. This one was my wife's computer. Mainly it's used as a guest computer now. She mainly uses her MacBook, but occasionally she will get on this desktop and do some work. So I was going to log on to this thing and kind of show what it had to work with here. I believe it's a Core 2 Duo, a couple of gigs of RAM, and it's very slow, 1.6 gig or something like that, 1.6 gigahertz. So it's pretty slow old processors. So we're going to do a budget-minded upgrade on this thing by recycling some of my old mining gear. Now I have a H110D3A, which is a gigabyte motherboard. Now that motherboard also has 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it has a Pentium dual-core processor, a G4400. So anyway, it runs at 3.3 gigahertz, so just in speed alone, we're looking at an upgrade. And that little Pentium processor actually works pretty well. I've got it in the boys' gamers. It seems to work pretty well for them. And while it was a mining rig, it was able to stream Netflix all the while mining and do other tasks as well. So let's not count that out. So anyway, this will be a pretty good little upgrade. And like I say, it's using some parts I've got laying around. I've been wanting to do this for some time, but I've barely gotten around to getting the RAM that I needed. So I got the 8 gigabytes of RAM we're going to need for this, and we'll jump into it. Alright, well, we'll start with the case. This is a plexiglass type case. At any rate, it's got 80mm fans. It's old. There's no getting around it. It's old. I probably first bought this case in 2005-ish, probably. At any rate, it's been around a while. My wife likes this because we've put the I Love Lucy pictures and stuff on it, and you know, we call it the LucyBox, and that's that. So it's her computer, and she's pretty fond of it, even though she doesn't use it very often. Mainly my mother-in-law uses it, and my daughter uses it when she comes over, things like that. So it's basically the guest computer. But it's not much fun to use when it takes all day to do everything the Jazz gets to do. So we're going to hop it up just a little bit. Alright, so here are all the parts we're going to be using to upgrade this computer. Some of them are new. Well, the only new thing is the memory right here. I just picked this up from Amazon. I think it was like 35 bucks, 37. Anyway, it's 8 gigs of DDR4. We got a small SSD. It's around 100 gigs, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then I have an adapter that can fit in the hard drive base. We have a 750 watt platinum power supply. We have an H10, what is it again? H110, I think. H110 D3A, it's a gigabyte board with an Intel dual core. We have a GTX 970 video card. It's a 4 gig card. So yeah, that's our upgrade pieces. So let's see if they're going to work by connecting a monitor to this thing, plugging in the memory and a power supply, and we'll see if we can get it to post. Alright, so everything's all hooked up here. We got the power supply turned on. Alright, we got our CPU power here. We have our Molex connectors to the motherboard here, which this particular motherboard needs, I guess. We have our ATX connector done. Got the memory in, and we have the monitor connected to the motherboard at this time. Now all we got to do is jump those 2 pins for the power button, which are right here. There we go, it's running. So I'll zoom in on the screen here so we can see a little better. We go to easy mode down here. Let's bring that up to easy mode so we can see what we got. We'll see that we show we got our G4400 showing 3.3 gigahertz. Actually reporting 3300.82. And our 8192 megabytes of memory. So everything seems to be working, and we should be all set to go ahead and build the computer. Okay, so like I say, this thing's been around a little while. been through more than one iteration of assembly and different things. Currently, I think it's just using the guts out of an HP computer. We had the last one before that was, what was it, a Pentium D, a couple gigs of RAM, and the chipset was not compatible with Windows 10, so we gutted an HP computer to put its parts in there just so that we could use Windows 10 with it. But at any rate, let's get this thing apart. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that comes off. You gotta unplug the fan. Alright, you ready? This is pretty neat here. This fan here, I had to rig this up in there. This was the original case fan for the HP that it came out of. I believe it was an HP. Let's just call it that for now anyway. Because it kept having errors because it was saying that the fan wasn't working. So this fan has to go with the motherboard pretty much. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. So we cut that off, no big deal. Yeah, this is just kind of an old machine that we've just kind of kept making it work one way or another. Make it work. There we go. Right? So these USB deals here are all individual. That's always fun. Alrighty. That can get unplugged. And pretty much, I do believe that frees our power supply. Get this sliding E connector out of here. So yeah, there's all our front panel connectors. Now the old motherboard can come out. Let's get the right I/O shield put in there. Now I've been bitten by this little thing more than once. It's a good idea when you're mounting a motherboard to take a look at the I/O shield and make sure none of the little springy guys are actually inside your ports, because that will mess you up. So this looks like the alignment's pretty good. So we're all right there. This board comes down farther than the other one did. We're not going to be able to use the Wi-Fi card because we don't have any PCI Express ports here. Or we don't have any regular PCI ports, I mean. This is a PCI card here. Whereas we would need a PCI Express card. That's fine. We have a LAN connection available to us, so that's not going to hurt us right now. We're not torquing lug nuts or head bolts, so we just snug them. Don't want to over tighten the screws in this plastic case. Crack it. Just snug them down and that's enough. That's good enough. Alright, so the most difficult part in just about any computer build, save for the ones that are actually custom water cooled, is always your front panel. And in this case the USBs are going to take a little work too, because they're individually wired instead of having the one big connector. So they're going to take a little a little concentration and a little careful placement. But we'll get there. We're going to need the manual for the motherboard. So let's see if we can retrieve that, shall we? Well, I couldn't find the manual for the motherboard. I don't know where it went. It wasn't in the box with the motherboard. So I went to the Gigabyte website and I searched for our product. And I was able to find the manual and download it. By the time I found it, and it was like 40 pages long, and I wasn't going to print that many pages. So I just found the pages that I needed for the front panel, and I printed those. I'll just use these instructions here, and we'll get this wired up here. What do we have here? We got power switch, we got the reset switch, we got the hard drive LED. What other LED is there? It must just be a power LED. One has little minuses on it, the other has just little dots. So let's just think that maybe that's the minus for negative. Worst case scenario, the LED just won't work, and we'll just have to switch them around later. Good. Alright, that should be the front panel. Alright, so we could do the hard drive SATA cable, I guess. And it plugs in like so. So we got this one here. It plugs in over here. I should have enough to test to see if it works. So let's get it plugged in. See if it turns on. Right. There's that. Alright, let's push the power button. Oh, look at that. Came to life, didn't it? So we got no power LED. Yeah, the power LED was not working. And then we don't have a SATA hooked up. We'll run this one off this one. Okay, hard drive activity light works. Power light does not. So let's see if that fixed it. Oh yeah, we got power. Awesome. So, if we look over here, this is what I've been working on. So we got the power LED, and then we got the activity light for the hard drive that was just blinking. There it goes again. Cool. So yeah, front panel's good. Let's see if reset works. Yeah. That stopped the hard drive activity anyway, so it probably worked. Let's see if it starts again. Yeah, good. Let's shut it off. Awesome. Alright, next thing we gotta do is we gotta pull this old CD player out and put in a newer one. Let's see, we take this cover off here. Then we have a 2-slot video card. Put the video card in here. We'll bring it up here to the second row there. Alright, so we gotta find a DVD player. Alright, so I've got this old DVD player here, and it's got the SATA interface on it. I don't know, a lot of people say there's no reason to have those anymore, but it's got a hole in the case, may as well use it, right? So yeah, we're going to have to replace the top one with this one here. And then we will move the hard drive up. Another thing we could do, while we got it all apart and everything, is we can mount our SSD. What sucks here is that I'm going to have to take these screws out right here so that we can get the drive bay right here, the drive cage or whatever you call it. That's going to have to come loose from the case. And then we're also going to have to take the front off the case. Alright. Okay. How can I do this? steal some screws here out of the lower one. We'll take all the screws out of the upper one so we can swap it out. Alright, we got the old one out. I'll hang this on here for a second here. Now, we can start fighting with the hard drive. Alright, there's that one. Okay, we go with this hard drive up here. 8 gigs. 80 gigs. Alright guys, this is what we have built. So we managed, the camera died, so I missed some of the stuff when I was working on repositioning the drives and adding the SSD. And I put the SSD right here. And then this was the existing 80 gig spinner. Which really, you know, as much work as it is to put it in there, I hated to even do it. Lousy 80 gigs, but whatever. Here's a part that was really sickening is after I fought with it all that time, and I got it as far as I did. Yeah, so I worked as hard and as hard as I did to get the drives in, and I go to turn it on and the dang thing won't even turn on. So I went through and I thought, well, it used to work and now it quit, so there's got to be something that I added. Must have made it go wrong, right? I mean, hopefully that's what it was, or I killed the board somehow. And so it was these guys here. Now these just simply plug into the rear I/O panel. You got basically a mic and a headphone basically. I had this one, I had the mic one plugged into the pink one, and I had the headphone plugged into the blue because I wanted the green for the speakers, right? Well, as it turned out, that was a mistake because it wouldn't turn on until I actually unplugged those. Once I unplugged those, it turned right on. So I had thought that I killed the power supply somehow, and I found another power supply and I hooked it up. It still wouldn't work. And so I went through and I was unplugging one thing at a time, trying to figure out what it was and if it was dead or whatever. I was just about to give up on it, and then I thought, well, let me unpull these out and see if that makes any difference. So I pulled those two jacks out of there, and it turns on. All right, so we're installing Windows 10 Pro at this time. It took some doing to get to this point. So what I had to do was I had to go into the BIOS settings and select the integrated graphics, and then went ahead and saved that and exited. Then turn off the computer. Then I switched the video for the monitor. I took that off of the video card and put it onto the motherboard because apparently this old installation medium doesn't have drivers or something for the GTX 970. So what we're going to do is we're going to install Windows, and then we're going to go to NVIDIA, and we will install, or I guess we could go to EVGA. Probably go to NVIDIA though. We'll install the latest driver, and should be able to, after that happens, we should be able to go into change our settings and move that over to the video card. Then we'll have the driver we need to run that. So if that doesn't work, then we have to wonder if there's something wrong with the video card. The last time it was installed on a computer it worked, but heck, that's been a while, so who knows, man. So we'll come back when this is finished. Let's have a look at the device manager. Look at here. Simple communications control. Alright, so we got a flag. So let's go ahead and run the disk that came with the motherboard. We'll get all the drivers and stuff in. Let's see what comes up when we run that. Yeah, so at this point we'll go ahead and reboot, and we'll get into the BIOS. And then we'll change to our primary video adapter to the PCI Express, and then we'll see what happens. Start. Okay. We're here at peripherals. Seems to have the PCI spot. And then we'll go over here to save and exit. Alright, so we can just turn it off. Now we'll move that over to the video card. Alright, now we'll turn it on again. Well, let's see if it works. Hey, look at that. We have video. Let's see if Windows works now. Look at that. Alright, well, we've got the drivers installed for the NVIDIA graphics card. And we've got a benchmark here. So let's see what happens when we run that. Unigine 2. Yep, there's our score, 2174. I'm gonna run that same benchmark on my Hackintosh and see what that does. So hold on a second here. All right, just as a fun little comparison, we'll run that same benchmark on the Hackintosh here. i7 6700K, 2 RX 580s, 32 gigs of RAM. So let's see what we can do with this. Okay, so we got 2206 on the Hackintosh, so as a comparison. This has just got a couple of RX 580s and an i7 Skylake 6700K. So, anyway, dollar per dollar, I think the LucyBox outperformed it, but that's all right. Okay, looks like we're all set. It's running great. Now we'll just reinstall Office 365 on here so the girls can be productive when they use it. Pretty pleased with how this whole thing turned out. And it's a heck of a lot faster than it used to be. So I would call the upgrade a success. Hey, thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more projects like these or some of my other ones, then go ahead and click that subscribe button, huh? Hey, we'll see y'all later. Y'all take care.